Tonight, we're going to talk about the two deputy sheriffs that were shot and ambushed over in Los Angeles in Compton. We're going to get into it right now. Guys, my name is DutyRon, retired New York City Police Detective with 20 years of law enforcement in New York City Police Department. If you like things all crime related, please hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you will get all things DutyRon when I go live. Hello to all my channel members, my Patreon supporters, and all the people who moderate and subscribe to this channel. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I was a little delayed in going live tonight because of technical difficulties. Technical difficulties are always holding DutyRon down. So good to see you, Black Rose, Boxing MMA, Trevor, JP, Alabama, Black Rose, I already said, Trevor, all the great ones are in here. I appreciate you. Dawn Marie, thank you. Hi, Amy. Hello, Joan. Good to see you. Joey Faith. Joey Brooklyn. We're going to wait for the director of security. There he is. He's in the building. Joey, good to see you. So, guys, I did a video about this on Sunday while the Mrs. DutyRon was out shopping. I did a Periscope video about this ambush-style shooting and how despicable these type of acts are against our law enforcement community. And I got to tell you, it's disheartening to say the least what's going on in the world right now. We do have a situation where there is a definite need for police reform in regards to taking non-compliant suspects into custody. Now, there's definitely, I would never argue with somebody over that situation because I'm in full agreement that there's room for improvement, obviously, when it comes to taking hostile and suspects that are on drugs and that are career criminals into custody in a safer, more efficient way. And that conversation needs to be had. There's no question in my mind. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, folks, this type of rhetoric that's being spewed out by the news media and by some of the outlets, some of the elected officials with the defunding of the police talk and the deep hatred and disdain for the police is creating a very dangerous atmosphere for not only our men and women of law enforcement, as we saw on Saturday, September 12th, just the day after September 11th, these two deputies were ambushed over in Compton, and just a despicable act of hatred. And in my eyes, it gets us nowhere. You know, when things like this are going on, it's just making it worse for everybody going down the line. Betty, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Sophia, thank you for coming in. Hello, great to see you. Yeah, well, I don't know, Marie. I have the my audio is kind of turned up. I mean, I don't. Joey Brooklyn, can I get a mic check on the Joey Brooklyn front? I think I'm doing good. Some people might just need a little bit of an adjustment on their side. It is what it is, but I can't please everybody. I can't please everybody. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are we doing? I see some thumbs up. Joey Brooklyn, I'll wait for you to let me know about the audio. Millie, Molly, Mrs. T, good to see you. Pitbull, Beer Master, good to see you. Yeah, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it in a minute. But what I want to talk to you about is, you know, Sheriff Villanueva, I know I'm saying it wrong. That was a tongue twister for me. But Sheriff Alex is a controversial guy. He was involved also in his department was involved in releasing some of the footage from the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash. So he is always going to get flack for everything he says and does. But at the end of the day, he was putting that out there like he was just frustrated. Two of his members of the service that are just 14 months on the job, a female deputy, 31 years old, mother of a 6-year-old, and a 24-year-old young man were there was an attempted execution of them in their patrol car, and tempers are flaring, and he's pissed off, and rightfully so. So at the end of the day, folks, you got people who are representing the movement of Black Lives Matter coming down to a hospital where two deputies are in critical condition and fighting for their lives, and they're chanting outside the hospital, "I hope the cops die." I mean, that's just despicable behavior, and anybody that's down with that, anybody that condones that kind of behavior, I'm not for you and you're not for me. So I know that everybody here does not condone that kind of behavior, but at the end of it all, you know, that type of rhetoric, that type of stuff is nothing but hatred and spewing a lot of really bad stuff. Thank you, Isabella. Hello, Sandra. Good to see you. Red Like Wine, great to have you. Lynn, all my channel members are piling in. Thank you so much for anybody and everybody who supports the channel. Jana, great to see you. I want to just talk to you about the White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnary. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight, but I had such a frustrating time trying to get my microphone to work that I'm spitting out these tongue twisters. But the White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnary, she held a press conference today, and she talked about the police deputies who were the attempted murder on these police deputies. And the news reporters, the White House pool staff, when she went over to take questions from them, not one asked questions about the deputies. Not one asked a question of her about what the president or what the politicians are going to try to do to correct this or rectify this. It was disturbing to me. It was disturbing to me to hear her make a statement about what happened to these two, and then the questions that came out of all of the pool reporters. Now, they represent ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, Fox News. There's all Al Jazeera is there. There's every representative from the international and national media. She spoke about these deputies being ambushed, and not one reporter asked a question about it. It just goes to show you that our news media doesn't give two flying craps about our law enforcement. And I'm going to play the clip for you right now so you guys can hear it. Hello, Glera. Good to see you. It's a short clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to play what pertains to it, and I'll let you listen to like two news reporters ask questions about the president wearing a mask during a coronavirus, during a press conference, or during an appearance. They didn't give two flying shits about these deputies that were attempted assassination. One of them shot in the jaw, the other one shot in the head and in the arm. They didn't even care. I'm gonna let you guys listen to this, and then we'll come on back. So let's listen to her, and she's a great sight for sore eyes. She's a well-spoken and a pretty smart person, and she's not too bad on the eyes. So let's take a peek at her, and let's hear what she has to say, and then let's hear what the reporters say afterwards.
Transitioning to a much more somber topic, and one that is very important to the president, I want to talk a little bit about our police officers. 14 months ago, 2 deputies with the Los Angeles Police Department were sworn in to protect and serve their community. This past Saturday, these 2 deputies were ambushed. While sitting in their patrol car in Compton, California, a suspect approached the passenger side window, took aim, and fired multiple shots at point-blank range into the patrol car. "I've been shot, send help," begged one of the deputies over 911. This was a cowardly, brazen, and unprovoked attack against law enforcement. One of the deputies attacked was a 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old boy. She was seen on security footage attending to the wounds of her partner, despite being shot in the jaw and arm herself. She is a true hero. Rushed to the hospital, these 2 deputies were targeted yet again. The LA County Sheriffs tweeted this: "To the protesters blocking the entrance and exit of the hospital emergency room, yelling 'We hope they die,' referring to 2 LA sheriffs ambushed today in Compton."
So, for those of you who maybe didn't hear that, there were protesters and they were representing Black Lives Matter at the hospital just hours after these two deputies were ambushed and shot in the head and in the face. And they were stating in front of police officers and security, I hope those pigs die. This is disgusting. Just despicable and disgusting.
They said this, do not believe she is a true hero. Rushed to the hospital, these two deputies were targeted yet again. The LA County Sheriffs tweeted this. To the protesters blocking the entrance and exit of the hospital emergency room, yelling, we hope they die, referring to two LA sheriffs ambushed today in Compton. They said this, do not block emergency entries and exits to the hospital. People's lives are at stake. Truly despicable behavior from those protesters. People's lives are indeed at stake. And it is truly, quote, a double miracle, as the Los Angeles Sheriff Alex Villanueva described it, that these two deputies are alive today. Targeting a police officer is an assault against your community. It is an assault against law and order. It is antithetical to what we value as Americans. We all remember the disastrous impact of the Ferguson effect. We do not want to see a repeat today. Defund the police is not just dangerous policy, it is a poisonous ideology. We must respect our police, not revolt against them. In the past 24 hours alone, we've seen law enforcement targeted across the country. This is in 24 hours. In Phoenix, a U.S. Marshal was ambushed and shot outside a federal courthouse in a drive-by shooting. In Linwood, California, a suspect approached a patrol car and fired a handgun into the passenger side window. In Suffolk, Virginia, a suspect opened fire on a marked police car, hitting the vehicle 3 times. This is within 24 hours. These acts are despicable. Rhetoric such as defund the police is likely to have negative consequences for law enforcement across the country, threatening the safety of our communities. As Los Angeles Sheriff Villanueva warned, the ambush in Compton is a, quote, sober reminder. It's a dangerous job. Actions, words have consequences, he said. Our job does not get any easier because people do not like law enforcement. It pisses me off, he said. It dismays me at the same time. There's no pretty way to say it. The president wants law and order, which is the best way to ensure peace on our streets. And he wants our police to be respected and protected. And with that, I'll take questions.
Okay, now she's going to take questions. That was 5 minutes of a conversation about the police incident and police being ambushed throughout America. Police shot and killed in the line of duty this year are 65. We were at 48 at this same time last year. It's a very dangerous and deadly job. I know it all too well because I did the job. But now I'd like you to listen to the questions that come in. And it's just another, I'll let you listen to another couple of minutes because it's despicable what these news reporters ask her now and the exchange that they go back and forth with. Not one of these bastards asks one question about the two officers shot and ambushed. Despicable, disgusting, and disgraceful.
Yes, Haley, thank you so much. I have 2 questions, if you don't mind. The first one is about masks. This morning, CDC Director Robert Redfield testified that masks are more guaranteed to protect people from COVID than a vaccine. Last night, the president continued to question their use. So why is he sending mixed messages about something that doctors say can save lives?
And the president has always supported mask wearing, and he's made many comments to that effect from this podium. Yesterday, he was pointing to a quote that even Dr. Fauci has noted, which is that masks can have unintended consequences. While we support wearing them, and it's patriotic to do so, the unintended consequences can be inappropriate usage, touching the mask, and then going on and touching something else. So the president very vividly described that unintended consequence that can come if not worn appropriately.
Right. And secondly, on September 3rd, you said the herd immunity so-called theory was something made up by the fanciful minds of the media. That was never something that was ever considered here at the White House. But last night, the president said that the country would eventually achieve herd mentality. I believe he meant immunity, to explain how the virus would, quote, go away. So did the White House shift its position about this in the past 2 weeks since you made those comments? And what is the position about using it as a strategy?
Herd immunity has never been a strategy here at the White House. The president last night was noting herd immunity is over a period of time. A country, a society can reach herd immunity. It's a fact. It was not a strategy ever presented here at the White House. And in fact, he went on in that very same exchange to say with the vaccine, this will go away very quickly, noting our strategy is to get a vaccine, and we will do so at the fastest rate for a novel pathogen.
So he doesn't agree with Dr. Atlas's view that everyone should just catch it and then we'll move on.
She's still
That's
going
not
on
Dr. Atlas's
about
view.
the
Dr.
masks.
Atlas, I'm with him every day. He's never proposed herd immunity as a strategy, nor has the president. John.
A couple of other questions on COVID, if I could. Have any members of White House staff recently
CNN.
tested positive for coronavirus?
I don't share
This is CNN now. The next question was from CNN.
people's personal medical information.
But we've heard in the past when that has been the case. Why the change?
I've seen the reporting out there, but again, I'm not here to give people's personal identities. In the past, when I've discussed a case, unfortunately, that individual's name was leaked to the media.
Okay. Secondly, something else that Dr. Redfield said was that while some people in high-risk categories
To manufacture be widely available
I'll
by the end of
fast
the
forward.
year. It's why we partnered with Sanofi, GSK, Pfizer.
Experts like he did last night.
He's referring to
What Dr. Fauci has said. But he said, quote, there are people that don't think masks are good. That's clearly not what the CDC director thinks, since he said today that masks are an important, powerful public health tool we have. They could be even more protective against COVID than a vaccine. So have any medical experts told the president that masks aren't good, or is he only citing non-medical experts like he did last night?
He's referring to the fact that when used appropriately, they can have unintended consequences.
All right, so this is reporter number 3. No questions about the police. I'm going to move on to reporter number 4.
Could have an unintended consequence if not used appropriately, and we can send you the clip. We'll put it up on Twitter for you.
It's okay. I just wanted to see if there's any medical experts who have
Were elements of what is an overarching plan. There's more that American citizens. Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. 2 questions. One is about vaccines. Some people within the Trump administration indicate that there might be a vaccine within a few weeks.
I think that quote that you were talking about, the president said last night, they come over, they serve you, he's talking about waiters, and they have a mask. I saw it the other day where they were serving
talking
me,
about
they were
masks.
playing with
This
the
is
mask. I'm not blaming
reporter
them.
number
I'm
6.
just saying it happens.
The role of government made any changes to its programs since Hurricane Michael or the way it communicates with the state of Florida?
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't asked the president about who he's.
So you guys get my point here. Nobody cared. None of the reporters cared that 2 police officers were basically an attempted to execute them. The person that shot them wanted to kill them. It was apparent. They were sitting in their patrol car in Compton, California. A person walked up. We all saw the video. I'm not going to show it here, but the person walked up and tried to execute the 2 sheriff deputies. Leo's wife, 93, thank you for being in here. Much love and respect to you. Annie's Pilates, good to see you. So my point is this is the White House press secretary. She's not a news reporter. She's the White House press secretary. She put out a briefing that the president made a statement about the attempted execution of the 2 law enforcement officers, and she said through her office that the president obviously, does not condone that type of behavior. Doesn't, the behavior that was exhibited after the fact of the people who were representing Black Lives Matter that came down to the hospital and said, "We hope that these pigs die." I'll show you that video so you could see it yourself. That is not representative of what good law-abiding citizens would do, or any type of behavior from good law-abiding citizens. So let me set up the next clip for you guys. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining. Hello, Polka Dot Suzanne, Joey Brooklyn, Jana, all the people that came in while I was showing this. Hello, Black Rose, Marlon, Music Channel. Thank you so much for being in here. Appreciate you, man. All right, so let me set up this next clip. Hold on. Then I got to go. This is what I want to show you guys. So this is from Tuesday, September 15th. Actually, this is going to show a little bit. If you suffer from PTSD or any type of anxiety, don't watch this, because this is going to show a short clip of what happened.
We know you've got your hands full.
What happened on Saturday night around 7 p.m. Compton time, California time. It's going to show a short clip of a person, either a guy or a girl, walks up to patrol car, and it doesn't show them being shot, but it shows the person shooting into the car. Can't really see anything graphic, but it's just, if you don't want to see anything like that, I would say tune out and then come back in a couple of minutes. It's only like 40 seconds. Let's show this. I'll show this to you guys. This is from September 15th, yesterday. Of course, why wouldn't there be?
Metro Blue Line Station in Compton. Eyewitness News reporter Mark Cota-Robles joins us live in the newsroom with the very latest, including the growing reward for the shooter. Mark.
That's right, Leslie. Good morning. The search continues for the suspect in this ambush shooting, who was seen on surveillance video opening fire on the deputies at the Compton Metro Station over the weekend. Those two deputies remain in critical but stable condition. In the meantime, we are seeing some new surveillance video of the moments immediately after the.
I'm going to remind you that the moments that they're going to show afterwards is going to be some heroic, brave actions by the female deputy attending to her partner, who was shot and wounded. He was shot in the head and shot in the arm. She put a tourniquet on his arm. When she was shot in the jaw, in the face, her jaw is broken and there's blood all down her shirt. She attended to her partner, 24-year-old deputy. This 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old was bloodied and shot up in the face. She got shot in the face, and her jaw was broken and shattered. He is also he was admitted to the hospital, but he was released today, thank God. So he was less, believe it or not, he was less wounded than she was, because she's still in the hospital. But let's watch what she does here. You're going to see her in a vestibule shielding her partner from any further gunfire while she applies the tourniquet.
Shooting. It shows the female deputy helping her partner despite her own very serious injury. She had been shot in the jaw,
down her
24-year-old partner in the forehead. You can see her shielding him behind a pillar as she put a tourniquet on his arm. Very serious injury. She had been shot in the jaw, her 24-year-old partner in the forehead. You can see her shielding him behind a pillar as she put a tourniquet on his arm, which had also been shot. Here's LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger talking about the broader issue she believes is a contributing factor to the violence.
The events of this weekend have made it clear to me that the anti-law enforcement rhetoric expressed by many elected officials, community leaders, and others has created a toxic environment amid the time of civil unrest.
Very well said. Now, I don't know who this woman is, but what she said here is very, very true. The toxic environment that's created by elected officials who pander to these violent rioters and looters and anarchists. I'm not referring to the peaceful people who protest, because I support the amendment to peacefully protest. I protected protesters for 20 years. In New York City, I've been to hundreds, probably close to thousands of protests, and I 100% support our right, all of our amendments, the right to bear arms, the right to peacefully protest, the freedom of speech. I'm all for that. But when it goes beyond that, when it goes to what do we want, dead cops, when do we want it now, chanting like that, this is what she's referring to, that turns into more violence and more death throughout our country. So let's listen to her again.
To the violence.
The events of this weekend have made it clear to me that the anti-law enforcement rhetoric expressed by many.
She's the supervisor. Let's see where that. Let's raise this and see it again. I want to see what her title is. I think she's like city supervisor or something like that. Just check it out.
Factor to the violence.
The events of this weekend have made it clear to me that the anti-law enforcement rhetoric expressed by many elected officials, community leaders, and others has created a toxic environment amid the time of civil unrest.
And here now is a look at that suspect seen on the surveillance video. It is difficult to pick up much detail, but the Sheriff's Department is hoping that someone knows who this person is. There is now a large reward totaling $200,000 for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the suspect. It is unclear at this point if investigators have any strong leads. If they do, they aren't saying. In the meantime, as those deputies recover, a GoFundMe account has been set up by a department deputy working with the union, and that is already raised nearly $300,000 this morning for the wounded deputies.
All right, let's look at this next one.
It's 2020. You can get lattes.
All right. You know, this kind of stuff gets my blood boiling because, you know, I really feel strongly about our elected officials. It's their responsibility, not just Democrats and Republicans, both sides of the aisle. It's their responsibility to not fuel fires. And when you fuel fires, these are the consequences. It's not affecting them. It's affecting the men and women who are out there every day putting their lives on the line and protecting our freedoms. So support your men and women in law enforcement. Support the military and the people who protect our very freedoms of our Constitution of the United States. And they're out there every day putting their lives on the line. So the people who are out peacefully protesting, I'm all for police reform, and I think it's a very much needed thing. I think that the public needs to be educated on how to act when you get stopped by the police, and I think the police need more training and more education on how to deal with people who are on fentanyl and PCP and heroin and all the drugs that are out there that people are taking, and dealing better with the people who are not acting rationally. So I think, you know, I know me, for one, when I was a police officer in 1991, when I went to the police academy, I received zero training on how to deal with someone who is high on any kind of drugs. There was just tactics that we used to restrain people. There was no curriculum that was telling us if somebody's on PCP or someone's taking heroin or someone's on cocaine, someone's high on PCP or whatever it is. There was no playbook on how to deal with those people. Just you had to just deal with it yourself. So, and I dealt with a lot of people like that. So I guess I was just lucky that nobody ever got hurt in me taking them into custody, because we were able to do it without you know, hurting or killing somebody or injuring somebody. Call it luck or call it whatever you want to call it. But let's listen to this next clip. Hold on a second.
Two deputies shot in an ambush is out of ICU. The other one remains in intensive care. The prognosis is good for both, but they have a long road to recovery. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez has the latest on the search for the gunman.
That gunman who snuck up on two Compton deputies and opened fire, consider him still armed and still on the loose. That appears to be the message from LA County Sheriff Villanueva, who spoke to Eyewitness News this morning.
We'll continue doing a very wide-scale search and investigation on who is responsible for the ambush.
With a reward fund hitting $300,000 and still growing, questions swirl about tips that have come in. There was a heavy deputy presence in Linwood last night. One carjacking suspect was arrested. The sheriff says today the show of force was justified by the Linwood crime. The suspect's bail set at $2 million.
He actually shot the victim with an AR-15 and stole the vehicle.
The sheriff in the crossfire of social media. Sympathizers on one side, critics on the other. An outpouring from law enforcement supporters, but barbs from followers of Lakers star LeBron James. James saying that the conduct of law enforcement generates fear. His statement, black men, black women, black kids, we are terrified.
I got to tell you, man, It's a ridiculous statement. This is a statement that is so generalized, it's just not even fair. I think that he should concentrate as well on educating people who get stopped by the police, whether you're high or whether you're not thinking straight, on how to properly not resist arrest and how to comply with orders. The same orders that if you and I were stopped, we would comply with and we'd live to see the next day, whether we're white, black, Hispanic, or anything other. It doesn't matter. I tell you this wholeheartedly as a police officer who worked in a high crime, low income minority area. There was nobody but black and Hispanic people where I worked for 20 years. And I didn't ever have to shoot anybody. I never had to, use more than what the necessary force was to take them into custody. I got lucky, but people were complying back in the day. There wasn't as much resistance, But LeBron James, to make that open statement like that, is just not sending the right message to the youth. He should be educating them on how to properly and safely interact with law enforcement. It comes from your family, it comes from your home, but it also comes from these figures that the kids look up to. They're like, these sports players are idols for these kids. So they should be sending out a message. Hey, police tell you to put your hands up. Don't run away. Don't fight them. You're going to have your day in court and you'll be able to get out and see another day. That's the message that should be being portrayed by these athletes. Not we're scared for our lives, we're terrified. It's freaking nonsense. Hogwash.
The sheriff catching flack for suggesting that the Lakers star contribute to the Deputies Reward Fund.
When you start painting the entire profession with a broad brush or assuming that there's either a conspiracy or a target on the entire race or group of people's back because of law enforcement, I think that's a little bit too far.
But the sheriff's challenge brought pushback from the widow of Kobe Bryant. Vanessa Bryant suing the sheriff's department because of graphic personal photos taken and shared by deputies of the death scene. The sheriff says time to separate the feuds for the sake of public safety.
Let's bring the community together and bring this ambusher to justice.
Udemy. No matter how you say it, it's the world's largest marketplace for learning and teaching.
All right, so there's one more thing I want you guys to see. Let me see if I can find it, and then we got to end this. Where is it? What's this? This is it. I want you guys to see this. Of course, there's going to be another commercial. Stop the other one and play this. We don't have a double whammy. Okay, this is the one I want to show you. So let's watch this. This is what I told you about the people that marched up onto the hospital when the deputies were clinging for their lives. This is a commercial. I'll let it continue.
Live look now at the scene in Compton where 2 LA County Sheriff's deputies were shot
overnight.
Watch
this closely.
A massive search is happening right now for the gunman who ambushed the pair. Both officers were sworn in only 14 months ago. The incident happened at a Blue Line metro station. The deputies, though, are still alive.
Eyewitness News reporter Jade Hernandez live outside of St. Francis Medical Center where those deputies now fighting for their lives. Jade.
Hi, Sue. Thank you for joining.
Good morning. We are live at St. Francis Medical Center, and we can show you that there is a heavy law enforcement presence this morning. It's a somber morning. The LA County Sheriff's Department is reeling with what appears to be an unprovoked ambush. 2 deputies shot multiple times. This ambush was caught on metro station surveillance video, and it is very difficult to watch. You can see the shooter. He opens fire and runs. Next thing you see, the passenger door flings open and the deputy emerges and stumbles. 2 LA County Sheriff's deputies shot in the head, 1 female deputy, 1 male. Both were rushed into surgery shortly after the shooting as an intense manhunt got underway. The apparent ambush at a metro station in Compton happened around 7 o'clock Saturday night while the deputies were sitting in their squad car at the Metro Blue Line station not far from a sheriff's station in the area. Just hours after the shooter opened fire, the Sheriff's Department held a press conference.
That was a cowardly act. The two deputies were doing their job, minding their own business, and watching out for the safety of the people on the train, and seeing somebody just walk up and just start shooting on them. It pisses me off. It dismays me at the same time, and there's no pretty way to say it.
This is what we know about the deputies this morning. One is being described as a 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old boy. Her husband came to St. Francis Medical Center here in Linwood last night. The other deputy, 24 years old. And we understand that Sheriff Villanueva swore both of these deputies in just a little more than a year ago. Anyone with any information is being asked to call 323-890-5500.
Okay, so if anybody's watching that has information about this shooter, there's the Los Angeles Sheriff's Division's homicide detective's phone number. I will link it down below in the description. Area code 323-890-5500. Anybody with information, please contact the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department with information. All calls will be kept confidential. Thank you to everybody joining. I appreciate you. This is the most important part of this video coming up. There's a clergy member of the clergy that's down at the hospital, and this is now where it gets nasty, where you'll hear some cursing and some expletives being shouted towards the police officers by this unruly group. A news reporter allegedly was arrested. She didn't have her credentials on her, but she was in the crowd. She was getting too close. If you come onto the scene of a police shooting, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I've been to many police shootings, more than I'd like to talk about in the NYPD. My own squad member was shot and killed in the line of duty, and I had his shield when I got promoted to detective. I had his shield number, Kevin Gillespie. So I all too well know how tense a police officer who has been shot in the line of duty, how personal it is, and how tensions can run high. So she was in the wrong place at the wrong time and messing around in an area where there was Black Lives Matter people, extremists from Black Lives Matter that were up there taunting saying Black Lives Matter, but taunting the police officers who their brothers and sister, a brother and a sister, was shot in the face and ambushed just hours earlier, and she was placed under arrest, and she deserved it. I feel that she got what she deserved because she was being a little bit of a skell. So let's let the rest of this go.
100 with any information. Reporting live from Linwood this morning, Jade Hernandez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Jade, we'll check back with you. Meanwhile, reaction to the shooting is unfolding. A small group of demonstrators gathered outside the hospital where those two deputies are being treated. This is new video showing officials trying to clear the area at St. Francis Medical Center. At one point, a few people were seen blocking the emergency entrance and exit to the hospital. A witness says some of the demonstrators even tried to get inside the building.
They were saying death to the police, kill the police, and they were using all type of curse words and derogatory terms about the police.
Okay, Annie Menjow says, DutyRon, it wasn't Black Lives Matter. Well, I heard, not on here on Channel 7, I heard on Twitter, and I saw it, a video from a regular person that was videotaping, and they were chanting Black Lives Matter. If you want to chant Black Lives Matter and then go and in the same next breath say, I hope the police die, this is a clergy member that was there and heard it himself. Words don't lie. And when you do things like that, if I'm representing the American Cancer Society and I say, I hope everyone that has cancer dies, what does that make me? That makes me a piece of garbage. And that's what these people are, and that's what we're talking about here. They're representing that group.
Just provoking our police officers. Very unacceptable behavior, because the hospital should be a sanctuary where we should leave hospitals alone.
Shortly after that recording of the protest, a radio reporter was tackled to the ground by deputies outside of the hospital. KPC confirmed journalist Josie Wong was covering the press conference when deputies say she allegedly obstructed justice. She was arrested and later released from jail earlier this morning. Overnight, the Sheriff's Department tweeted that Wong ignored commands to stay back as they tried to arrest someone. They say she did not identify herself as a press reporter and later admitted she did not have proper press credentials. Wong tweeted after her release that she will have more to say after she gets some rest. And Compton Mayor Asia Brown tweeted about the shooting last night, saying in part, quote, "I am devastated to learn of the tragedy that occurred in our city tonight. The city will be working with the Sheriff's Department as they search to apprehend the individual responsible for this act of violence."
What I love about products I find at Grove is that they're safe, they're...
All right, so again, it is what it is, folks. And when you have a group of people who come marching up onto the scene of a police shooting and start chanting death to these cops, we hope they die, and Black Lives Matter, and they have the flags. Those are the same flags. I could show you. I'm not going to do it because you guys know that what I'm telling you is true. There's tons and tons of footage of these anarchists, these domestic terrorists that represent Black Lives Matter after hours, and when the darkness comes and they're overturning tables on people. And if you condone that type of behavior from people who represent Black Lives Matter, like I said, I'm not for you and you're not for me. So anybody that's here in the chat or anybody that watches the replay, if you condone shooting police officers, terrorizing innocent people, making people feel like they need to give reparations for things that happened 400 years ago, if you feel like that's the kind of rhetoric that you're supporting and that you want the country to be all about, then I'm not for you and you're not for me. And it's as simple as that. So I want to just say, I'm sending a lot of love and prayers to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Division, those two officers, the 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old baby boy, the 24-year-old that just came on the job 14 months ago with her. I'm praying for them. If you guys could put some prayer emojis in the chat, I greatly appreciate that. Wishing each and every one of you guys safety, health, all the people who are affected by the fires in California, the harsh weather down in Alabama and Florida. Sending a lot of love and prayers for all of my people who live in those affected areas. And for those of you who are in Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington, and Chicago, and New York, and everybody who's affected by these anarchists and jagaloons that are out there lighting fires and breaking businesses and throwing bottles and rocks at our police. I say prayers for each and every one of you. I thank all of you for your support, my channel members, my Patreon supporters, my moderators, most importantly, all of the people who subscribe. Leave some comments down below in the comment section. I'd like to hear what you think about this. Subscribe to all my social media, all one word, DutyRon, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Check out my Discord group. Send me an email or a message on any social media that you want to be involved in the Discord group. And also send me a message on Facebook if you'd like to join the police and crime chat group and the DutyRon YouTube video share group. Thank you to anyone who has given Super Chat or has given it in the past and going forward. And thank you to all the people who become new channel members behind the scenes, because I get a lot of notifications that people join the channel. So when I'm not live. So thank you for all of the people that do that. God bless the world. God bless the United States of America. God bless each and every one of you here in the chat. And thank you so much for joining the DutyRon family. God bless and good night. Thank you for joining.